Hello and welcome back to another news video for Final Fantasy XIV with me, Meoni. This time we have a rather large and important update to talk about that could change the way that you play the game today. And yeah, it is a rather large impact, I think. So on the Lodestone today, the 27th of October, we got this, an update to the account and 14 penalty policy. Essentially, what this involves then are new prohibited activities. So the way that 14 is going forward, they want to set a precedent. There are several things that annoy people, including RMT. So basically what they're classifying that as is RMT vendors repeatedly creating fraudulent recruitment listings in the party finder. So here we go. So those things that say like, I'm selling runs of Coils of Bahamut, stuff like that. So it says, until now, we have discovered fraudulent recruitment listings by RMT vendors in the party finder. We first investigated for RMT activity before issuing penalties. However, many of these listings directed users to external websites, meaning an extensive process was required to substantiate allegations of RMT activity. This meant these fraudulent listings were routinely visible on a daily basis, a situation which has persisted until now. Furthermore, as RMT vendors disregard normal gameplay and are only concerned with RMT activity, many of their fraudulent recruitment listings were created in the duty roulette category of the party finder. This meant that they were prominently visible upon opening the party finder menu, which became a major hindrance during normal gameplay. Although various methods were considered for resolving this issue, in the interest of taking swift action without requiring extensive investigations, we have deemed it necessary to prohibit the advertising of RMT services and the creation of recruitment listings for incorrect categories within the party finder, actions which are routinely done by RMT vendors. We apologize for the relatively restrictive nature of these changes compared to how the party finder was being used until now, and appreciate your understanding. Below are the details regarding the prohibited behaviors which have been added. So let's look through these exact examples and we'll go from there of what you can and cannot do in the party finder. But I think this is fairly self-explanatory that those listings that you see selling coil runs, etc., join this person on Discord, those will not be legal anymore. Also, the creation of recruitment listings in incorrect categories, that could be actionable as well, so you want to be careful about that. So here's the exact examples. Advertising offers to help clear content, to help earn loot, etc. via the party finder. It is prohibited to advertise using the party finder to offer help to clear duties or obtain items to help people clear raid content or obtain items by having them join your party. A penalty will be issued if the act has been confirmed. This prohibits the act of advertising such support and does not prohibit those asking for help themselves through the use of a party finder. So to clarify, you can't go, we are willing to boost you through this content, blah, blah, blah. Now, the only thing that is legal is if you go as the individual and go, I'm looking for a group to help me clear this particular content, and then they contact you that way. But you can't do it the other way around. It is not a violation to ask for help or to offer a reward when asking for help, as in the following examples that do not violate our policy. However, in the examples that do violate the policy, the person offering help is advertising their services, which is prohibited. Examples of violations: selling Coils of Bahamut Clear for 1 million gil, selling Coils of Bahamut Clear and or offering the associated rewards from Uwu. Join for more info details. That is prohibited. So the non-violation example: hi, I'm new. Can anyone help me clear Satasha? Help me clear Uwu and I'll pay you 1 million gil. I'd like to get some items from Uwu. I will pay 1 million gil if I can get it. So that's how people want you to do it. So rather than people seeing recruitment posts endlessly when in places they shouldn't be, offering services, rather that, they'd rather people go in there and go, hey, I'm willing to pay Gil in the exchange for clears. That's actually fine, but you can't do it as if you're the seller. So it's a buyer's market, not a seller's market now. But that's pretty much how it should have been in the first place, right? Please note that Square Enix may conduct investigations and issue a penalty at its discretion, even if a report has not been filed. So they're going to be cracking down on this, which, in my personal opinion, is a very positive thing. But you might have your own opinions, but that's the fact of it. You will be scrutinized based on these rules. So let's have a look on the next one. Other solicitations that fall far outside of the intended purpose of Party Finder. The main purpose of the Party Finder is to recruit members to participate in content. Any recruitment listing that does not match its intended category is prohibited. Interesting. The other category is intended for recruiting players to participate in content that is not listed in the listed categories. However, as an exception, the other category may be used for the sake of recruiting members to form a community or conduct exchanges between players. Examples of these include promoting player events. There we go. So as a streamer, if I want to do something and I want to password lock it, I'll put it in the other section, and there you go. That's how we do that. That's how I've been doing it so far anyway. Housing related promotions, advertising for the purchase and sale of items, recruitment of members for community groups such as link shells and free companies. So yeah, there you go. Those are things that you can do. It is prohibited to list any of the above in categories other than the other category. Interesting. So you can't put like a housing related thing in the duty roulette section, otherwise you get told off, which is fair enough. They're basically trying to make you post in the correct places. That's a good thing. It is, if Square Enix determines that certain Party Finder listings involve prohibited activities, such as attempts to disguise RMT activity, the Party Finder listing will be removed along with a penalty being issued. So that's probably temp bans, maybe even worse. Please note that Square Enix may conduct investigations and issue a penalty at its discretion, even if a report has not been filed. So not only have we got don't sell clears of things, we've also got don't put things in the wrong place so far. So that's the two main things to take from this. And then we've got adjustments to the prohibited activities documentation for clarification and addition of prohibited. Yeah, so prohibited activities that were previously announced, such as purchasing a house plot with the intention of resale, have been added to the list as well. Additionally, the difference between stalking and improper following, as well as details regarding obstruction of play, have been updated for clarity, with additional information and adjustments. Addition of detailed explanations and examples of prohibited activities. Sections regarding prohibited activities that primarily arise from communication-related conflicts have been updated with explanations and examples where possible. Until now, prohibited activities were listed without specific details in order to prevent exploitation and abuse of the rules. However, we received feedback suggesting that the lack of detail made it difficult to understand what constitutes a violation, which could lead to overly sensitive reactions to non-violations or violations of the rules despite efforts to abide by them. Our rules are established with the intention of allowing players to enjoy the game with peace of mind, and we were not meant to become a source of anxiety for our players. As such, we have made changes with emphasis on clarity. Very good. Anything we can quote on is honestly a good thing for me. So I would like to read that and look at that at my own time. However, there are innumerable expressions used in communication, and the provided examples do not cover every possible instance. Therefore, these examples should be seen as reference for learning more about prohibited behavior or for situations where you're uncertain about how to act or what to say. Other minor text adjustments? What is this? An explanation regarding penalty points has been added? Interesting. Okay. Penalty points refer to a specific point value that is assigned to each type of violation category, i.e. obscene, indecent expressions, aggressive expressions such as violent language, slander, insults, threats, etc., and vary depending on the severity of a violation type. The total sum of these penalty points determines the type of penalty an offender will receive. Penalty points together with the actual penalty issued are recorded and will be used to determine the penalties issued for any future violations. I wasn't aware there was a point system. Interesting. Although penalty points were internal information and therefore not publicly explained until now, we have added an explanation as they are essential in understanding the system of reduction of penalty points mentioned below. Note there are no changes to the procedures themselves at this time. So all this time then they had a point system to value if someone gets banned for how long as well. That's interesting. Kind of cool actually. The implementation of a system in which accrued penalty points may be reduced based on the number of days that have passed. Oh, so it's a system based on, it literally is like a penalty, like a judicial system. Interesting. A system has been implemented in which accrued penalty points may be reduced if a significant amount of time has passed since the last penalty was issued. Penalties are intended to urge offenders to reflect on their violations and discourage repeat violations. However, we have confirmed cases where the permanence of past penalties instead led offenders to commit subsequent violations. For example, offenders might think penalties won't go away anyway, and may repeat violations without remorse or commit the same violation again as their remorse fades over time. We felt that setting decay periods for penalty points would provide users with a clear goal in correcting their behavior and decided to implement this system in order to better promote reflection and conscious restraint from repeating past violations. That's really quite sensible, isn't it? Well, in my opinion. Since penalties would lose their significance if they were erased after a short period, penalty points accrued from penalties of the lowest severity, i.e. a caution, will not start decaying until at least 1 year has passed. Those involving a temporary service account suspension or more severe will not start decaying until a minimum of a 3 to 6 year period has passed. We believe users who manage to maintain good in-game behavior during this period will not suddenly forget their long-term commitment, even if a reduction system completely erases their accrued penalty points. So let's just stop here for a second. So if you get a caution, that's going to be an entire year before that point starts to sort of like decay on your account. That's a very big caution. And then you've got the more severe stuff, which is like 3 to 6 years of you basically being on probation. That's really interesting, really interesting. The reduction of accrued points is based on the amount of time that has passed since the last penalty. Therefore, if a subsequent violation is committed before a reduction occurs, then the countdown towards a reduction will reset at that point. In addition, this system will not reverse a service account termination. Refer to the account penalty policy for general information regarding decay periods for penalty points. And then we've got last one. We thank you all for your continued support, and we'll continue to update and review our rules and policies to ensure that our players can safely enjoy their time in 14. So, okay, thoughts on this? I mean, my thoughts are going to be very basic. Don't break the rules. It's as simple as that, right? These are rules that have been set out. People asked for clarity before. We have the clarity now. This is how it is. If you see people RMT selling in like your roulette, report them if that's what you wish to do. The likelihood is that they'll be attacked anyway directly by Square Enix for doing so. You know, this is a prohibited behavior. We don't have to put up with that anymore. And if you want to actually find a group for a duty roulette, you don't have to accidentally click onto some dude trying to get you onto Discord to sell something. It's as simple as that. But if you do want help with something, including ways of purchasing things with Gil, you can still do that. Simple as that. The listing of things inappropriately in the wrong settings, unfortunately, this is one that I both agree with and disagree with. It's basically be very, very careful where you list your listing of whatever you're doing, okay, for whatever activity it might be, simply because this is actionable just like this. So, I don't know. Hopefully the penalty system is a little bit less on this, because I myself, I will freely admit to you, I have listed something accidentally in a wrong place, you know, before. So, I don't know. I think I'm just going to stick to the other tab and make it player event and then just use passwords, because that's usually what I do on Twitch anyway. But, yeah. a bit of apprehension about this one, but there we go. The rules are the rules. Those are things we have to follow. And the information on like stalking and improper just don't be a creep in the game. It's as simple as that. Anyway, for further rules, and if you want to read this yourself, a link will be in the description, rather, not a description and a link. And you can read this yourself and go through it. The account penalty policy is also linked off of this, which has all of the full information and examples of how not to stalk people and things, which you shouldn't be doing anyway, right? Just enjoy the game itself, like play like a normal person, enjoy yourself, and yeah, treat other people as you wish to be treated yourself. I think that's a good thing to be taking from this. But yeah, I'm personally glad. My overall take from this is I'm glad that there's some clarity now. Some things in the past have been a little bit grey area. This should provide some solid reference material, and especially in the policy itself, if we can quote on those things. But yeah, it's nothing, you know, it's not ironclad, but it's a good start. Anyway, let me know what you think about those various changes below in the comment section. I'm sure those will be interesting. Try to keep it civil if possible, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.